3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
All right, welcome to Roots of Reality. My name is Ben Baumann, and today I'm going to be talking about the history of entertainment. So, since the formation of human societies, people have created various activities to entertain themselves. After all, without some form of entertainment in life, things would be pretty rough. So first, I will provide a quick overview of how entertainment has developed over time. So, starting out, at least 40,000 years ago, art started to occur in the form of cave art. And at least 35,000 years ago, music started to occur with the invention of flutes made from animal bones. Then, with the formation of human civilization in the Middle Eastern area called Mesopotamia, going back 6,000 years ago, organized sports started to occur, followed by the invention of board games 5,000 years ago. And later, 4,000 years ago, the first known literature occurred as well in Mesopotamia. Next, about 2,000 years ago, the first known theaters as well as comedic performances began in ancient Greece. Then, many years later, more modern forms of entertainment started to occur in Europe, such as the first magic shows beginning in the 1500s. And even later in England specifically, the first museum formed in the 1600s, followed by the first fairs in the 1700s and the first circus, which occurred in 1768 in England. Next, the first ever film was produced in 1895 in France, and a year later, in 1896, the first radio was invented in Europe. And from here, in the 1900s, the first television was created in the United States of America in 1927. The first arcade video game was also created in the United States in 1971. And then the first computer was created in 1974 in the US, which eventually led to the creation of the Internet and World Wide Web in the 1980s by American and British scientists. Thus, building off of these technological developments for entertainment, in 1993 the first smartphone was created in the US. So here we are today in a world where these forms of entertainment have only continued to improve and grow. For instance, we now have countless types of music we can listen to anytime and anywhere, or we can watch videos, movies, TV shows, and sports with a click of a button on smartphones using our mobile data via online streaming through apps. In turn, we no longer have any need for even past technological devices that are really not even that old. I mean, if you think about it, it really is insane just how fast technology is changing, where kids even today going through grade school, for example, will likely no longer use the technology that they have currently, right now, when they go to college, because there will be something better. I mean, even when I was growing up in school, I saw people transition from using portable DVD players for music to using MP3 players to using iPods. And by the time I went to college, people were using things like Spotify for music, just doing online streaming, which became just an app on a phone. As a result, for human societies, these entertainment developments have been both good and bad. For example, having all this entertainment at our fingertips all the time allows us to always find ways to entertain ourselves. Perhaps when you are traveling on a long flight or road trip and things get pretty boring, or just in general in our day-to-day lives. Obviously, everyone has plenty of problems in life they're dealing with, whether it's health problems, financial problems, work problems, social life problems. And those things can start to weigh on us after a while, making us start to become really dissatisfied with life. And these forms of entertainment can provide us with a moment to forget about those problems in our lives. And this is a great benefit to society because it allows for people to relax a bit, refresh their minds, and then go back to trying to solve those problems in a better place mentally. Since sometimes we just need a momentary escape from a problem, and these forms of entertainment can allow us just enough room to breathe to perhaps figure out how to make our lives better and how to develop the right mentality to finally solve those lingering issues in our lives. Ergo, whether entertainment is good or bad depends a lot on how we choose to consume it. We can listen to our favorite song as kind of background music to the decisions we make in life, inspiring us to keep going in the face of tough times or help us cope with a sad situation. We can use TV shows, movies, and books to get our imagination going about how we can change our lives, become our dreams, or just become more interested in a subject. And we can use sports to get away from the chaos of life and watch incredible athletes remind us of how fun life can be when we take a step back and just enjoy a game. On the other hand, the downside of increasing entertainment is that people may not be as social as they once were. Obviously, we see it all the time where people are just staring at their phones, kind of like mindless zombies in public, and many of us do it ourselves. Additionally, these forms of entertainment can also be addictive, where some people can consume too much entertainment too often, where they stop living their lives and instead live vicariously through their favorite TV shows, favorite celebrities, or favorite sports teams and more. And this is a dangerous aspect of entertainment, because not to sound cliche, but this is your life, and do we really want our lives to be constantly distracted by what's on our phones or other forms of entertainment? After all, your biological clock is constantly running out of time. And eventually, we will all get older and older until our time runs out permanently. So we all have to decide for ourselves how much entertainment is too much. Because in the process of consuming entertainment, we can start to sacrifice aspects of our own lives. Which is why entertainment at the end of the day should really be viewed as something which gives us time to rest, think differently about life, and perhaps even inspire us to do something more with our lives, but not distract us so much to the point where we start to forget that we are alive in the first place. So at the end of the day, we will all have to make that choice and find that balance. But if history can teach us one thing, is that no matter who you are, where you're from, or what you think you're capable of, this universe belongs to you, and your dreams are always possible if you choose to pursue them. After all, regardless of the distractions in life, every person you read about in history books are a bunch of random people that over time made decisions which put them on the path to be remembered for how they lived their lives and what they did with their short time on Earth. Sure, there were distractions back then too. There was entertainment that they could have been lost in and consumed all the time, distracting them from things that they eventually went on to become famous for. But ultimately, they decided to not let those become distractions. And as a result, some of these people will get remembered for the things that they did. And while there are plenty of people who also did incredible things that are not remembered, all these people that sort of made the most of their lives had a mentality about themselves in life which empowered them to really control their own stories. You know, today in the world of entertainment, we love to view famous historical people and famous people today as if they are not even human. But some godlike figures, even though they're just like us, they were born not being thought of as famous in any way. Rather, they became that over time. Because at the end of the day, they are people just like us who happen to be lucky enough to be remembered for the things that they did. So I don't know your life, I don't know what problems you have or what dreams you may have, but I do know it is up to each and every one of us to write our own stories and determine the meaning of our own existence. And the meaning of your life is not about how famous a person can be or how you compare to others, since if we are being brutally honest, there are way more people who are not famous than the famous people that we do all know that will never be heard about, who are also extraordinary people that ultimately are just never discovered. And additionally, again, if we are being honest, fame in itself, in many ways, is an illusion. If you're famous and you enjoy that temporary attention, that's cool, but it doesn't really mean much beyond the fact that you are well known, which can be for both good and bad reasons, as we know historically. Lastly, at the end of the day, when we are all on the verge of taking our last breath here on Earth, we will likely not care about how many social media followers we have, nor will the random strangers that know about us, when they take their own last breath, will be thinking about us. anymore. Instead, all people will think to themselves about their personal loved ones and wonder about their lives and if they made the most of their short time here on earth. No one cares about fame when your time is almost up, because it's about those personal relationships with family and friends that stick with us most. To be remembered for your work is great and all, but ultimately, much of the meaning in our lives comes from how we lived and how we interacted with those close to us. And whether we are remembered or not at the end of the day for the contributions we made to the history of existence by random strangers, that is just icing on the cake. After all, the meaning of our lives is defined by us and no one else. No one else is you, and no one else can give you meaning because they never will be you. In turn, life is about making the most of the short time we have, not fearing it, but rather using the burden of aging, which reminds us of our own mortality, as inspiration, showing us that what we do every day matters, because every day is a day that will soon be gone forever. So trying to enjoy life and continuing to pursue our goals and dreams has much to do with just having the right mentality. Dreams often come and go. They change constantly as we learn more about ourselves and have new experiences, since that's how we learn more about what we want in life. But that's because becoming your dream was never about anything other than developing a particular mentality about how you want to live your life, which carries you throughout this chaotic universe and gives you the motivation to get up every day and to continue to live the life you want in the first place. That's the reality of existence. So whether you're young or old, all we can do is just keep trying to make the most of life. Sure, the world can be depressing at times, which may make us susceptible to wanting to drown ourselves in entertainment to forget about all the problems going on, but it is our world. And we have to remember that no amount of bad that does occur will ever mean more than the slightest bit of good that happens here on Earth. As always, remember, billions of years led to you, so make the most of it.